There have been over time a series of concerns about cost of living, about livelihood, about the political system. They're not even concerned that schools have been closed for the last 3 weeks just because of all this we see happening.
Meet Valnora Edwin, one big woman civil society activist in a salon. For some time now, civil rights activism don't be space when a man dem more they occupy. This means say, na just few women them get mind for be activists stronger one and succeed. But as all this they be, Valnora don't be activist for the past 20 years as it been done head campaign for good governance, CGG, one of the top civil society organization them na the country, where plenty people sabi as one of the voice them where they talk to and not they bend na the civil society space. This being time, Valnora left CGG and now they head the Salon chapter for the African Women Leaders Network, when a civil society organization where they work with young women them on issue them like empowerment and leadership. But who's them and how it been start in journey of activism?
Well, I would say evolve over time because I start for work na campaign for good governance like a year after I left college. And I actually not mean feel say I will go into that sort of space there, but then over time, I like what they do. When I start my campaign for good governance, it was in the year 2000, and we know so we'll be still there in that conflict context. So maybe be the assistant human rights officer, and key role I mean for document stories about waiting they video in the war, and use them. Give me boss when I been Dr. Zainab Bangura, who is another household name in civil society, a female, and Inc. can use that information then now for lobby and do some advocacy with the UN and with the government at the time. So from there, you know, when I read the stories and know, and then I participate very actively in the Truth and Reconciliation process, and also with the special court, working with victims and witnesses. So that was from 2000 to around 2002, 2004. So within that like 4-year period, I was very actively involved in all of that. And I think that through all of that, it built the passion for going to activism, that, you know, there is a space and I'm in a position for work with others, for speak on behalf of other people.
But it been get time where it feels say people well in heart, not for go into the space of activism because of inner woman na this part of the world. Wetin I been experience like, and how it been deal with bad comments them because of an opinion on national issue them.
Interestingly, not at all. Like I mentioned, I worked on a campaign for good governance. Auntie Zainab was there, Zainab Bangura, and most of the staff were women. And in fact, I now worked there long enough. The team they want me to work with were all men, because the field staff then where I say would they look at the human rights reports were coming from all the districts in a salon, who they are mainly responsible for summarize all of that. Auntie Zainab can take and go UN, take and go to the government, so that they can look at what is happening behind rebel lines and all of that. And the whole team who have been managed were like 12 men, and I never had an issue with them. Okay. I come up from a background where we're three. In the narrow sense, meaning my father had 8 children, only one a man. On my mother's side, my mother was married to my father and 3, and I'm the youngest on both sides. So I've never grown up in a context for feel say while I walk into a room, I for feel inferior becoming a woman, or I for conscious owning a woman. So this thing are not for do and this. I've never had that.
But you ever get complaints of such from other female activists then?
No, not really. I've never had that. I've just had like comments on the side where some people like you say, you get more, so you're not afraid. You know, like one time we did do some facilitation. One man came up to me. He said, I'm very happy for meet you today. He said, I can always hear you. He said, I can look, say, but woman, not forget mine so. He said, but even when I don't meet you, he said, I can begin to say, this not sharp, not woman there. He said, but when I meet you, he said, you are so respectful, you are so calm. He said, I'm really, really glad. He said, keep up the good work. So, you know, you can get any comments on the side, not in a negative manner.
As he look back for the past year them, Valnora explained wetin don be some of the gain them where in work don't make as active civil society player.
So there are many things. When they do advocacy, a lot of things they take a while. They take years, something that you never foresee even in your lifetime. But some of the things I would say is one, like the gender equality and women's empowerment bill. Since I started working at Campaign for Good Governance, it has been an advocacy issue. Of course, not to of me one. I meet people and they talk bottom, we join in the bandwagon. So that's a big plus. We dey see recent legislation like then Sexual Offences Act. Like I tell you, when I begin, they look at all those human rights things and when they did to women during the war. We know how rape been dey, and it's so dominant because if they be nobody know they talk bottom. But now we have a law. It's something people talk about. We dey see sexual harassment don be a thing where and they try for pull and come on our institution and they encourage both private and public sector that internal policies then go dey. So for me, these are positives.
But by all them Genia, Valnora self-observe and go through plenty challenge them over the year them, but in work as activist.
I think one of the key things the way I go say, I think like I said, over time I get the space. I get people them way I will say God used for guide me through all of this. But I think within the civil society space itself has been the most challenging, or maybe two challenges. The civil society space over time, like how I said on, so now not so the same again. We're not a work as a unit, we not seem forget a common vision, and they make the work very difficult and not interesting. Because over time, it's good to have new players, but when they get a lot of players into the field, we don't seem to understand what activity is all about. Within civil society, that is not about money, it's not about projects. When I did CGG, a lot of people in the of the view that Campaign for Good Governance get so much money. And I can talk and I'll say there were times months ago we not even get money for pay salary, we not get money for buy fuel for generator or the vehicle. But what we had was the focus, the vision that we therefore do with advocacy. So with all of that going on, we are stepping, we are all over the place to make sure, keep the country together, say what we have to say to the right people and at the right time. That passion they know they in most of the people the way they come on board. They not understand within our civil society. It's all about projects. It's all about thinking that, you know, what I talk now and make so, then they go invite me, go yonder and do that. And we didn't do that, but we are still invited.
But always Valnora don't see sweet and bitter experience at the civil society area. It don't come out strong and continue for move and do in work. This now waiting it gets for tell young woman them we want for be civil society activists them, but gets afraidness, say they no go succeed because they're not woman them.
So firstly, I think you need to be knowledgeable about issues. That helps for building confidence, because what thing that affects a lot of women is that issue of confidence. Not that we have all the confidence. Would I know me in school go tell you say they can surprise if why they talk so. I was a very shy person and I'm still a shy person. Meaning I just sit in my corner, do my thing, but when necessary, I will come out. But what builds the self-confidence is knowledge. Always try for improve on yourself. Always try for learn. Every day me they learn, and from anybody, because until you die, my mama can talk you they learn. And if you're willing for learn from even that small picking, and you know they look down, say you know me not this kind of person, anybody can teach you something new. So that's self-confidence, and you can only have it when you have value addition. So you are sitting in a space because you get knowledge, not so just because you're a woman, but there's something that you're going to give to that space. They will always call you. So value addition very key, making yourself relevant, not undermine yourself, because sometimes we human and they undermine yourself, not look down on yourself. Then say if you listen to the noise at the market, you won't buy. They will say whatever, but you have a focus, you have a goal, be professional, and I think you can occupy whatever space you want.